Hello everybody, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we're going to talk about a program that is near and dear to my heart that I had thought and written off for dead, and it's called Silo. Made by a company called Never Center. It was around probably 6 or 7 years ago, and then just sort of died, which is a shame because it was really good at what it did. And that is, it's a lightweight polygonal modeler and texturing package. And really that's it. That's all it does. But if you are a modeler, Silo was one of the smoothest experiences out there. Well, the cool thing is the developers picked it up, dusted it off, cleaned out some of the bugs, added some features, added FBX and DAE or CLADA import, and really it's back. And one of the arguments you could have is it's not as needed as it was then, because when it was out 4 or 5 years ago, the state of polygonal modeling wasn't as good. So the question is, can a commercial modeler, lightweight modeler, compete in the world today? Well, that's what we're going to look at today. Just so you know, it is commercial software. It's $100, also available on Steam. I see here the Steam price is, I think, 110 Canadian. So I think it's actually slightly cheaper to buy it on Steam than it is on their own website. It's also available in a fully functional 7-day trial. So if you do want to check it out after seeing this, do be sure to do so. And without further ado, this here is Silo. Now again, this guy went silent. It's from this development team behind it. It's only a couple people large, and they kind of seemingly abandoned it. So it is awesome to see it being actively developed again, but do keep in mind it could go away just as fast as it came back. So hopefully what you see here, the functionality you see here, is enough for you. But it does exactly what it set out to do, which is fast, easy polygonal modeling, and it does it well. So here you can see typical quad view setup. You can change your views out. Here you got your various different cameras. You see the hotkey assigned to it over here. At the same time, you can pick a particular view and spacebar in and out of it, as you see there. Standard mouse controls, good solid performance here. This is running on a I don't know if this is running on my 1050 or my integrated, but it doesn't require a whole lot. And there's actually a fair number of polygons in this scene. These windows are all configurable. We can get rid of them completely, like so, and they can be brought back this way. So if we want to show the scene editor, here's all the various different things that go together to make the scene. We can undock windows, dock them, whatever. Available, coincidentally, this is a Mac and Windows-based product. So get rid of window like so. Let's bring up another option here. So say, for example, the material editor. Material editing is very straightforward. You know, you can apply a texture, diffuse, ambient, specular, emissive. Unfortunately, we're not in physically based rendering for the material support here. Now, the one nice thing is, though, there is now that CLADA and FBX support I talked about. It has full texture support for bringing it in and out, making this very easy to slot into your existing game engine pipeline. Now, one thing to be aware of on the flip side, there is no animation support in here. I thought Silo before was actually heading in that direction. I think they maybe really stripped some of the functionality out and made it more straightforward. Now, using a slightly less complex scene, let's start from scratch. We'll create a new scene here, and we'll create something. So you see you got your various base objects you can create from. So your cubes, spheres, etc. We're going to actually go ahead, create using custom primitives, and this is basically any scene object. You can drop them in this folder. You can come here and go to that folder, save any scene there in their own format, and you can quickly create them this way. So we'll just do a quick human bust, like so. I don't know why it didn't center, so we'll do an Alt-F, Control-F, focus in on that guy. So you see there, looks pretty solid, straightforward. Once again, we've got subdivision surface, so we can subdivide, smooth that guy out. We can unsubdivide if we want. So you've got your subdivision modeling going on if you want to create smooth shapes, etc. You can select, as you see, you've got your typical selection size. You can grow accessions. You can select paths, loops, rings, select by geometry. Now, another thing you'll notice on here is when you've got your various different menu options here, over here to the right, first off, you've also got the hotkey associated with it, and it's very customizable. You can basically hotkey anything you wish, but you see the quick keyboard entry for each different thing. Another thing you'll see here is Opt. Click Opt, and it will bring up a menu for actually dealing with that object. So if we go here, say, into the Modify, and we want to extrude, so you see here you've got Z for extruding, or you've got Options. So Options will come out here, so we could do it this way, so we could extrude out. I don't have anything selected, so let me select a face, like so, and I could go 0.1, keep faces there, extrude, and there we've extruded out. Now, another neat thing they've done here is, remember when I looked at this thing, we've got the hotkeys going on, so you see there we've got extrude, like so. And what I could do is hold down that key, Z. So if I just press Z once, it'll do the extrude, or I can hold Z and manipulate and extrude that way. Your standard manipulators down here, so you've got your transform, scale, rotate, and a combi one for doing all those things together. Now, some of the cooler tools we've got going on here, let me just go back to this guy not being so odd. So, save current file. Nope. All right. So let's go back, and we're going to create a primitive again. We'll create the bust, and we'll subdivide that sucker out to get some more polygonal. And let's go ahead and refine control mesh. So this is our mesh. So we got some density on this mesh. It's not the most outrageous you've seen, but let's show you one of the coolest tools that's built into Silo. And one of the most common things you have to do in this day and age is retopo. Especially if you're working in game dev, you want to do retopology of a high definition mesh to a low definition mesh. Well, you can do that here. And it's as simple as come in here to create, and we got the retopo tool, or the topology tool, like so, and to view. And really all you're going to do is just do rough drawing like so, and it's tracing on the contour of our shape. And I'm obviously not going to show you this entire process because that'll get painful, but you can see I'm just doing rough outlines following quick drawing on the surface. Grab the bridge of the nose so we get that detail in there. So let's do another vertical detail like so, and then just press enter when you're done. And let's go back here, editor, show our scene editor like so. So what I want to do is take this guy and hide it. And there you see we just quickly created that retopo mesh. So it's one of the fastest ways of doing a quick retopology of a high definition mesh. Very cool stuff. Another aspect of this particular modeler is, let's go, once again, we'll use this guy because it's already done for me. If you've done any UV mapping in the past, you've got a pretty good idea of what is involved. I'll go back to the quad view, so press the down arrow, and then you can see one of the views is actually the 2D UV layout. Now this guy was already cut for us, so you see, I'm gonna go back over here, get this guy in, Control F, there you go. If I look here, and we go into edge mode, topo. So you can go here, UV seam toggle. This is a way of turning a seam on or off. There should be topo on this guy. So let me just, I thought it was already done. Yeah, it is already done. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing them then. Oh, let's go. UV live unwrapping. This should be showing me. And basically, you come in, you can mark your seams, you can unmark your seams, and that's where the cut does. The cut is down here, and then down in this guy, so let's go back to the UV layout. You've got your typical UV material control, so you can do things like pin your UVs down, mirroring UVs, nudge UVs, scale them around. You can also generate a normal map, because we've got the subdivision surface applied on this guy, and have it automatically generate a normal map to us. We can also have it generate basically an image of this guy. So let's save this guy as test. So, and then I come back here, you'll see we have test.png, very simple, kind of a reference image that you could bring into, you know, Photoshop or whatever, and use it for your underlying texture map. Once you have your texture defined, it is as simple as going in here, go to New, Texture, we'll apply our wireframe onto this image, hit spacebar, toggle back. So that guy, click apply, and the texture is now applied to your model. There's a couple other features here, such as we've got live UV wrap using LSTM algorithm. It's a quick way of UV unwrapping things like, I think, cylinders, odd shapes, things that just don't flatten naturally. But the UV wrapping tools are pretty standard to what you expect in the industry. Come back over here, you see we've got our modeling tools. We've got things like bevel, breaking, cutting. Like so, switch to face mode. So I got cut set up. So there to there. Cut. Cut. Oh, I'm cutting within the face. This is not a very good demonstration of the cut tool. All right, so you've got, again, we saw extrude earlier. And grab a face. Escape out of here. Grab a face like so. And then we can extrude it, grab it there, and extrude it outwards like so. Yeah, we've got local move, like that. We can merge points together. You can slide surfaces. So for example, if I grab an edge loop, I can slide it around the surface. We've got smoothing. So if I grab, let's go into selection mode. Just do a draw selection like that. Smooth that out like so. You split edge loops, and then you've got surface tool, which basically allows you to switch between the different modes on the. So you see here, I've got an edge. Here I've got a face. Here I got a vertex. It gives you like a quick move regardless to what tool your mode you're in. And then once again, you come back here to your modify. Any of these are hold down. So if you sticky key it, hold down J, it kind of becomes an interactive tool. Otherwise, it becomes a one and done kind of tool. So I'll go back and show you with a new scene. New scene. No. So let's go ahead and create a cube. Like so. Let's F that guy. All right. So I'll go to edge mode here and I'll show you what I mean. So there, shift select that edge like so. And we can just kind of come up here and do a bevel. So if I do a bevel, it's going to just do bang, a default setting. So once again, we could also have gone modify bevel, done options, and we bring up the tool down here. So let's grab this edge here. Oh, it's still active. So press enter to commit. So in this particular case, we could just go in here and grab our edge, and then I could do a bevel of 0.34, yeah, 4, fine. So there you see the bevel, boom, and it's done. Or the other option, once again, is using the sticky key mount. Go modify, so you've got your B for bevel, like so. So I'm just gonna, let's rotate this guy around. Let's grab this edge here. Oh, am I still active? This edge here, I'll hit hold B, and now it's an interactive tool. And the minute I let go of B, it is active. So you basically got the one, you hit B, you do your move, and then you hit enter to commit, or you hold down B and you do your bevel interactively, or you hit options, come over here, and you've got your interactive tool over here. Another thing that, especially coming from, if you're a Blender background guy, you can also do things numerically. So let's go numerical editor, and you see you can actually, rotate, scale, etc. Do the numbers directly. If that's your thing. So definitely a more straightforward, I think you could come in and learn how to model in this guy in a day as opposed to a much longer period in Max Maya or Blender. It's just, so focused in what it does, so straightforward in what it does. And another nice thing on this is you go ahead and you get help, go to the online manual, and the manual actually mirrors just the menus. So, if you want to figure out how to do surface tool, just go in here and click surface tool, and you get details on it. So learning it really is a matter of you just go through the menu, and anytime you don't really get what a menu item is, there's a one-to-one correlation to the documentation. So there's not really a lot of interplayed systems that you have to understand here. It's very straightforward. It's got most of the tools you would expect from a polygon modeling world. The workflow is fast. The only thing I find personally awkward is the orbit. The orbit works well when you're working around the origin, as you can see here. But when you get a non-standard mesh like that TIE fighter we had going on earlier on, the orbit, okay, it's right on the origin. That's annoying. Okay, so, well, sometimes the orbit is a little finicky, depending on what you've got selected, perhaps. I actually, in this case, it's all working perfectly. All right, well, sometimes I found the orbit a little frustrating. I don't know why. It doesn't always orbit around selected, and the menus suggest towards setting something to do about this. All of your settings are available here. So if you say in display settings, but the only setting that's available for that is rotate camera around frame selected or selection. But the kicker is they suggest another one. It's basically something about tracking pad mode, and I just can't find it. I don't know where the option is. I think it might just be a current omission. But in terms of my workflow, I do find the rotating of the camera can be a little frustrating. Although in this particular case, it seems to be straightforward and working perfectly. Your navigation otherwise is very simple. It's all controlled around the Alt key. Alt middle mouse button, you see you're doing a pan around. Alt right mouse button is a scale. Ditto with the scroll wheel and Alt, and then left button is your rotate. You see down here, you got your various different select modes. So vertices, edges, faces, I think that one, multi, and then finally object select. You can select via, you'll notice that there's no tool tips or hover tips. It can be a little frustrating at times, to be honest, but it's down here instead. So paint style selection, so you can paint like that. or you go into rectangle selection like so, or you get like lassos or polygon shape selection like so. But straightforward tools. Again, you've got your options over here. These mostly correspond to menus up here. You see you've got your different selection options, so you can turn on soft selection, you can have snapping, etc. Select loops, select paths. Again, these are all up here as well. So it's kind of a quick access to the menu. You can also change the orientation of this menu, and these are your various different UV unwrapping tools as well. This can be orientated this way. There are hotkeys to control to flop through this stuff. So if you are a very hotkey driven person, that all is here. And the cool thing is learning them is very simple because, as I said earlier, they are always quick displayed right here. And again, if you're looking at a tool and you're not immediately understanding what it was, you will find that the documentation is laid out on a menu by menu basis. So it's a very, very straightforward and simple program to understand. Now, the ultimate question is of value. Now, this tool is very stable now. From what I've seen, the export is quite solid. The results come out nice. It hasn't crashed on me. The performance is quite good. The biggest thing that really has changed probably as a negative to Silo is 4 or 5 years ago, this tool set was staggeringly good. Now it's just good. For example, in Blender, which is currently free, the modeling tools have gotten a whole lot better than where they were at 4 or 5 years ago. So Silo's lost a little bit of its edge there. The question is it worth $100 to you? Do you like this workflow better than Blender, better than Max or Maya? Now, Max and Maya, you got a much different story going on there because those guys are $3 to $4 grand a piece. Even the closest straight out modeling comparison, which is probably Modo, which I think is about $1,100 right now. So Silo's kind of on its own in that level. The $100 for a tool for straight out modeling, it doesn't really exist. Now the question is this a more efficient tool for you? Because you can slot it into your pipeline now. There is pretty good export. I didn't actually show you that. But your ability to save scenes as, you see your different formats here. They've got their own format, but OBJ, FBX, Collada, DXF, 3DS, STL, POV. So you've got pretty much the common formats, and you've got, OBJ, FBX, Collada, DXS, and 3DS are probably your de facto norm for various different game engines. Your results from here import just fine into Blender and just fine into Max. Those are the only ones I've tested. And at the same time, your open works exactly the same. So to bring an asset into here, you're not importing it. You're literally just opening up, and you're opening up any of those file formats. It's mostly the same ones: OBJ, FBX, Collada, DXF, 3DS. So it is a straight modeler, but it can slot into your workflow very, very, very easily. Who is this tool for? It's for people that perhaps can't afford the top level tools like Max or Maya, perhaps don't like the workflow in Blender, or they find the learning curve just so off-putting. This could be the ideal tool for you. There are other things out there. People are using modelers such as Milkscape, which I believe is completely free, but there used to be a lot more in this space. There used to be programs like Caligari True Space, Imagine 3D, etc., Form Z. There were a bunch more cheaper modeling tools, and they've kind of gone by the wayside. So at this point in time, $100 for a straight out modeler is kind of a unique proposition. I don't know if it's worth it to you. It's one of those things that definitely you should check it out. If you find Blender daunting and you want to get into 3D modeling and you're looking for a good, affordable 3D modeler and nothing else, this is not a renderer, this is not for animation. It's literally modeling, UV unwrapping, texturing, and then you export it out from there. But if that's what you were looking for, then definitely do consider giving Never Center a shot. Now, again, you do have to be a little cautious. Small development team, and they've abandoned it once. But it's awesome to see that they're back. And the cool thing is, now that they're back, they're actually back and seemingly pretty quick. So if we come in here, for example, for Steam, you'll see on February 28th, there was, so they got an updating announced. So basically live text, live texture mapping, PDS to support. And then on the 23rd, they did an update as well. And we're just seeing, now that they're back, they seem to be supporting it pretty rapidly. So the 23rd, 28th, the 12th of December, and I think they came back, so 29th of September. So you see they're pretty current on their update, and they're updating monthly, bi-monthly type basis, and some pretty substantial upgrades in these updates, and they're fixing bugs as it goes. It's much stabler than it was a few years ago, so that's definitely nice to see. So it is actively being developed. It'll be very interesting to see where this turns out. But it is also, again, straight out commercial software. So really, at the end of the day, all I can say is if what you saw today looked impressive or interesting or intriguing, if you are looking for an accessible but capable 3D modeler, do check out Silo. Once again, there is a free demo available. Where did I find the link? Go to download, 7 days you get, absolutely no restrictions, so it is the full-on version, but definitely something to check out. So head on over to nevercenter.com to download that demo if it looks interesting to you, and hopefully this was interesting. It's a piece of software from my past that I really liked. I was really disappointed when they stopped supporting it, stopped developing it, so it's awesome to see that it's back. I just hope that the day that it was really going to shine isn't behind it, because as I mentioned, Blender got a whole lot better in its modeling, and if you're a dedicated Blender modeler, this isn't going to be for you because you've got your workflow down, you've memorized all the various hotkeys, you probably know Blender like the back of your hand. But if you're not, this could be the perfect modeling tool for you. It's kind of unique, again, in that entry-level space of being powerful, capable, and working in those other tools. I guess the only really kind of similar product out there this day and age is, why is the name not coming to me? Google owned it. SketchUp. SketchUp is the only other really like non-$1,000 commercial modeling package I can think of. There's 3D Soap as well, but that's more along the lines of ZBrush. So like in terms of polygonal modeling, this might be one of the only other options out there. So if that's what you're looking for, do be sure to check this out. I hope you found this useful. Are you already using Silo? Did you use it in the past? If so, let me know what you think down below. Does it look really interesting to you? Also, let me know that down below. All right, I will see you all later. Goodbye.